Welcome to our daily show where we discuss the fourth stimulus check update, what's going on in the United States, what's going on in Washington, D.C., and what's going on with the next stimulus package, the fourth stimulus check package, which will be the largest stimulus package yet to date at $3.5 trillion, which the House of Representatives is now working on the actual bill, which will be putting everything into the bill, which was actually the very exciting part. We're going to be finding out exactly what will be in the bill and all these stimulus provisions in the bill. We're going to be talking about that as well as what's going on in our country, an explosion in Afghanistan, and several things going on here, as well as state stimulus checks here in this video and rent assistance, how you can get your rent paid from the third stimulus check package for up to 12 months or even more in this video. So let's jump right in. Okay, this morning at the Kabul airport in Afghanistan, there was an explosion outside of the airport or near the airport, and 3 U.S. Marines were injured and others as well. In this breaking news story, you can see here multiple U.S. service members were in the attack near the airport, the Pentagon has said. You can see here the Pentagon today confirmed that several U.S. service members have been after two explosions went off near the Hamid Karazi International Airport in Kabul, Afghanistan. An explosion at the airport Abbey Gate was the result of a complex attack that resulted in a number of U.S. civilian casualties. Pentagon spokesman John Kirby said at least one other explosion occurred near the Barron Hotel not far from the Abbey Gate, Kirby said. The White House, Pentagon, and State Department did not immediately respond to CNBC's request for information on this. About 5,400 service members are assisting with evacuation in Kabul. The British have about 1,000 troops assisting with evacuation efforts as well. The UK Ministry of Defense said there were no reported casualty among its government personnel in Kabul after the attack. Vice President and the President, Joe Biden, have been briefed on the situation. The president met with his national security team this morning, including Secretary of Defense and several commanders on the ground in Kabul, the White House said in a statement. In this article from yesterday, actually, the U.S. warned Americans to avoid this gate as of yesterday for security concerns. You could see here the U.S. Embassy in Kabul on Wednesday warned citizens to avoid traveling to the airport and stay away from certain gates, including the Abbey Gate. The U.S. citizens who are at the Abbey Gate, the East Gate, or the North Gate should leave immediately, citing security concerns. So they had been warned or briefed on this and had warned people in the area. House moderates as well as Republicans are calling on Biden to reconsider the August 31st evacuation deadline. President Biden had recently said that he wants to come out of Afghanistan by August 31st. He will possibly have to negotiate with the Taliban if he wants to stay there past August 31st. He doesn't necessarily have to do this. He could just do a show of force to stay there, but I mean, I don't think we want to necessarily start a new war. But I mean, nonetheless, we could stay there one way or the other. But I think the whole idea here, and even remember former President Donald Trump, the whole idea was to withdraw this year. Recent polls show that the vast majority of Americans are in support of fully withdrawing eventually at some point from Afghanistan. So, of course, at some point when you withdraw entirely, it's just going to be a mess because when you fully withdraw, it's just going to be an absolute nightmare no matter how you do it. Because I mean, if you just think about the logistics, it's just going to be. We're seeing it happen right here. So you can let me know your thoughts in the comments, but it's gonna not be pretty either way. So we'll see what happens. I'll keep you updated. Millions of California residents are going to be expecting or going to be receiving another stimulus check soon from the round two or second round of California state stimulus checks, which are $600 or even $1,100 that are going to go out to over 25 million people in California. I'll get to some other state stimulus checks here in just a minute. As you can see here, state officials expect the latest round of state stimulus checks to be issued to Californians by next Tuesday, August 31st, which is less than a week away. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean you will receive it exactly on that day, but they will start going out on August 31st. So I will keep you up to date on this. Again, this is for over 25 million people. So it's actually a lot of people. I mean, that's more than the entire population of a lot of states combined. That means eligible Californians earning between $30,000 and $75,000 a year can expect to see $600 payments in their bank accounts. The first round of California state stimulus checks that went out previously were for certain Californians earning up to $30,000, and you filed a tax return to let the state of California know that you made under $30,000. They have some qualifications. So again, if you didn't receive your state check yet, you might want to look into the details of that. The California Department of Finance previously said the payments would be issued in early September, but actually might go out a little bit earlier than planned. So again, the second round of this is for Californians making between $30,000 and $75,000, and they have said that up to 2/3 of all Californians in the state of California, which is over 25 million people, I think they said it's going to be between 25 and 27 million people in California, will receive $600 state stimulus checks. And if you have children, you will receive an additional $500 payment for a total of $1,100 stimulus check from the state of California, which is amazing. Yeah, you can see here, this round of stimulus checks is an extension of the Golden State Stimulus Program that was first announced in January, which provided a one-time payment to low-income Californians earning less than $30,000 a year. That was round one. This program mirrors a federal stimulus program distributed last year, the first stimulus check program, the Economic Security Act, with its intent to help residents weather the economic turmoil brought on by the health crisis. So, again, this is round two from the state stimulus for the state of California. Now, there are other states giving out state stimulus checks here as well, or that have done so in the past. Of course, we know California, we just covered that. Florida, nearly 200,000 people in Florida, first responders and educators, are eligible to receive one time payments of $1,000, according to the Office of Florida Governor Ron DeSantis. Teachers, principals, and first responders. Yeah, teachers, educators are also expected to receive the one-time $1,000 payments, and first responders. These funds are provided for the department to provide full-time classroom teachers and to include certified pre-kindergarten teachers funded to the Florida Education Finance Program and principals in the district's schools and charter schools and the Florida School for the Deaf and Blind with a one-time bonus of $1,000. I believe those are still going out right now. So again, if you think you might be eligible for these, check with your school or your first responder head of department or something along those lines. Georgia issued a $1,000 retention bonus in March to about 230,000 kindergarten through 12 public school teachers and staffers. These are also kind of known as hazard pay bonus as well. The money will be from the $660 million in stimulus money the state received, and the program costs about $230 million. Michigan sent out $550 million in hazard pay bonus for teachers and $250 million for staffers at the end of February, costing $73 million. New Mexico, thousands of low-income New Mexicans residents are expected to receive a one-time payment of up to $750, according to New Mexico Human Services. The department said the initiative is part of a $5 million state-funded program that gives help to low-income New Mexicans, give priority to those with the lowest incomes. Tennessee, the Tennessee state legislature passed in June, allowing full-time teachers to receive a $1,000 stimulus check and part-time teachers to receive a $500 stimulus check. The direct payments are expected to be issued throughout the course of 2021, so those are probably still going out and will be going out in the future. Colorado and Texas have previously deliberated about sending bonuses to teachers, but nothing came of it, or at least not yet. Meanwhile, a bill in Hawaii to give teachers a one-time $2,200 payment was vetoed by the governor. That doesn't look good for you, Mr. Hawaii governor. Wow. The Hawaii governor also, just a few weeks ago, signed an emergency proclamation establishing a and testing mandate for all state and county employees for the state of Hawaii. Yeah, so we're seeing this more and more happen, especially with the Pfizer now being fully FDA approved and the Moderna now in the process of full FDA approval. Now, I will keep you up to date as more states, cities, and counties announce more state stimulus checks, county stimulus checks, hazard pay programs, and more. A lot more of these programs, whether it's for hazard pay, different groups of people, or entire state stimulus checks, like the state of California done. There's other programs that weren't even mentioned in that particular article. I remember that North Carolina did a $335 state stimulus check for people with children in the past. And there's been some other states previously last year from round one. I think New Mexico did a $500 stimulus check, and there were a couple other states as well last year from the first round of the money that went to states and cities. So a lot of these states have just kind of gotten their money in the last month or so, and it takes them some time to figure out how they're going to spend this. So I will keep you up to date on state stimulus checks, county stimulus checks, and more here as we go forward on the states, cities, and counties kind of figure out what they're going to do with this money. Okay, now remember that the $3.5 trillion stimulus package just went through a crucial vote in the House of Representatives that passed by 220 yeses to 212 noes, and basically a motion to proceed. It was actually a very, very important vote because it means that they will be voting and moving forward on the $3.5 trillion stimulus package first, ahead of the physical infrastructure package. Because remember, there were some moderate Democrats that wanted to just pass the physical infrastructure package first. So they have decided that they will be moving forward with the $3.5 trillion package, the stimulus package, first in the House of Representatives. They are now crafting the actual bill, and all the subcommittees are going to be putting the bill together. They've been writing the bill in the background, and now they're putting it together, which is the very important part. And we're going to be seeing the bill here soon and actually finding out what is in the bill. And then we're going to be saying, hey, this is in the bill, or that's in the bill, or there needs to be more for this or more for that. And then they're going to actually be voting on the actual final vote in the House of Representatives. So they're going to be going through that very, very important vote. So this was kind of the initial vote, but it was a very important initial vote because it basically meant that they're voting on the stimulus package first and not the infrastructure package. Now, in addition to this, some point here in the very near future, within like the next 30 days, they're also going to be having they're going to be having to pass the national debt limit ceiling. Remember that whole debacle? They have not passed that yet. And basically, the government is running on emergency money that is the Treasury has said they had like $300 or $400 billion in emergency reserve money that they're basically spending down. Okay. And they have to basically come to an agreement to pass a bill. It's kind of hard to figure out how I want to word this here. They have to pass a bill that says that they're allowed to issue more debt. Okay. It's similar to a bank. If a bank can't lend out money, a bank can't really function. The United States is basically a large bank. The United States Treasury, the United States Bank, okay? United States currency. Well, every year or two, the United States has to basically pass a stupid law, law, that they have to be able to lend out more money. Okay, they did this I think it's three times underneath former President Trump and all presidents. It's similar to the government shutdown, which they have to do every year. They're going to have to do that as well. I believe the deadline for that is October 1st. Remember last year they had to pass those. They did like every week or two they were passing small extensions on that as well. So they're going to have two deadlines coming up here, that they're going to have a government shutdown, as well as they're going to have to raise the national debt limit. And Republicans aren't going to want to do either. So we're going to have a really, really big stalemate coming up here. And yeah, it's going to get very, very interesting here because the Democrats are trying to pass these packages on their own, which, well, Kevin McCarthy, who's the leader of the Republicans in the House, he doesn't agree with the physical infrastructure package, which the Republicans passed in the Senate with bipartisan agreement. Only 19 Republicans out of the 50 in the Senate passed it. Mitch McConnell was behind in support of that. But Kevin McCarthy, the leader of the Republicans in the House, doesn't even agree with that one either. He doesn't agree with either of these packages. And of course, we know not a single Republican agrees with the $3.5 trillion stimulus package. Remember, not a single Republican agreed with the third stimulus check package either, but they did agree with the second stimulus check package, which was in December, right before former President Donald Trump left office in January. So basically, Republicans were in support of more stimulus in December, but as soon as President Biden and a Democrat came into office in January, they were no longer in support of stimulus. Yeah, my wife says riddle me this because we don't consider ourselves from either party, as you guys I'm sure know. I personally think that's just kind of a little bit of political games. Because I mean, if you just look at it from not a Republican, not a Democratic stance, if you're not, if you don't always vote Republican, if you don't always vote Democrat, if you just look at this from a neutral point of view, Republicans were for stimulus all last year up until December. But then as soon as January came around, they're no longer for stimulus. Doesn't really seem, I don't know if right's the same word. It doesn't really seem, it seems political to me. They passed a second stimulus check package in December, but as soon as January comes around, now all of a sudden they're not for any more stimulus. I don't know. But regardless, they all voted no on the third stimulus check package, which was in March, a few months later. And so nonetheless, they all voted no on the third stimulus check package, and they're all going to vote no on this next stimulus check package. But the other problem is that they need to raise the debt ceiling. The government needs to do that to function. The government has to be able to lend money, borrow money, issue money. Again, the government's been doing that forever. Government has to do that to survive, or the government will literally default. Now, the interesting thing is that the Democrats, from what I understand, can do that in the budget reconciliation. They also, from what I understand, can probably pass a government shutdown, an annual budget in the stimulus package as well. Because both of those, the main rule for the reconciliation process, the main rule is, does it affect the national budget or the government budget? And the answer is for both of those, yes. Now, they have not put those both in there right now, but they could include those both at the very last minute. If you guys kind of remember that at the very last minute, they tend to add things in. In the second stimulus check package, they actually added the stimulus check in there at the very last minute. So yeah, the stimulus check of the second stimulus check package was not even in the stimulus check bill. It was a stimulus package without a stimulus check. They added it in there even after they wrote the bill. Remember, Senator Bernie Sanders and Senator Josh Hawley stood up and said, no, there must be a stimulus check. And in the third stimulus check package, they significantly changed it even after they wrote the bill. The minimum wage had to be taken out. There wasn't enough votes. They added in the $10,200 unemployment tax-free provision. They lowered the income threshold for the third stimulus check, saying that basically people making $100,000 per person, so couples making $200,000, shouldn't get a stimulus check, and that the $10,200 unemployment provision should be added in. So that was all after they wrote the bill. And in the third stimulus check package, it was after the House passed the bill. So they could add in this debt limit ceiling raise, and they could add in the annual budget for the government into this third stimulus check package. And the Democrats could pass this on their own, from what I understand. So what are the legalities and the actual technicalities and all this? All comes down to it. We're going to have to see here, because we're going to be getting down to the wire here, and it's going to get very, very interesting. And it's going to get very, very hot. It's going to get very, very political. And the other thing they could do is they could just kind of make a deal with the Republicans and give them some concessions. I mean, we know that they make deals all the time. I mean, the Democrats are literally making deals in their own party just to keep their own party happy. But what they will give the Republicans to make them happy and to get them to raise the debt ceiling or the annual budget shutdown remains to be seen, because, as we know, the Republicans and Democrats are not in a good place right now. But they did make a deal on the physical infrastructure package, so there is hope at the end of the tunnel. or light at the end of the tunnel. Either saying works. So I will keep you up to date with everything. I'll keep you up to date with Afghanistan. I'll keep you up to date with the stimulus package, the infrastructure package, what's going on in our country, and what's going on in Washington, D.C. Thanks, guys, and we will see you in the next video. In the next video. In the next video.